The security guard's hand was tight around Simone's arm as he dragged her toward the front door of the Patterson mansion. Her feet stumbled on the marble floor she had polished just that morning. Behind her, Mrs. Patterson's shrill voice echoed through the grand foyer. "Thief. Common thief. After everything we've done for you." Simone's heart pounded so hard she thought it might burst through her chest. Tears streamed down her face, but she couldn't even wipe them away because the guard held both her arms now. The other household staff lined the hallway, their faces a mixture of shock and pity. Some looked away. Others stared with open mouths. "Please, Mrs. Patterson," Simone begged, her voice breaking. "I didn't take your necklace. I swear on my life. I would never steal from you. Please just let me explain." "Explain?" Mrs. Patterson laughed, a cold sound that made Simone's skin crawl. "You were the only one in my bedroom this morning. The only one who could have taken it. That necklace was worth $50,000. $50,000. And you thought you could just take it? But I didn't." Simone's voice rose in desperation. "I was only cleaning like I do every Tuesday. I never touched your jewelry box. I never even looked at it." Robert Patterson stood beside his wife, his face hard as stone. He had always been kind to Simone before, asking about her day, thanking her for her work. Now he looked at her like she was dirt under his expensive shoes. "The evidence is clear," he said flatly. "You were alone in the room. The necklace is gone. We've called the police. They'll be here soon to arrest you." Terror shot through Simone's body. "Arrested? For something she didn't do? Mr. Patterson, please. I've worked for you for 5 years. 5 years. Have I ever given you reason not to trust me? Have I ever taken anything? Even a pen? Please, you know me. You know I wouldn't do this." "We thought we knew you," Mrs. Patterson snapped. "Obviously we were wrong. Get her out of my sight. Now." The guard pulled Simone toward the door. She tried to plant her feet, but he was too strong. Her mind raced. Where would she go? Her apartment was paid for by the Pattersons as part of her employment. Her phone was in her room upstairs. Her purse with her identification and the little money she had saved. Everything. "Wait," Simone cried. "My things. My clothes, my phone, my money. They're upstairs. Please just let me get them." "You forfeited the right to anything in this house when you stole from us," Mrs. Patterson said coldly. "Be grateful we're not having you arrested right this second. Charles, get her out." The guard, Charles, had worked at the house for 3 years. Simone had brought him lunch sometimes when he worked long shifts. Now his face was blank as he opened the front door and shoved her outside. The afternoon sun was bright, too bright. It hurt Simone's eyes after the dim interior of the house. Several neighbors were outside, tending their perfect gardens, walking their expensive dogs. They all stopped and stared. "Please," Simone tried one more time, turning back to Charles. "Please, just my phone. Just my wallet. I have nowhere to go." Charles's jaw tightened, but he shook his head. "I'm sorry. Orders are orders." He closed the door in her face. Simone stood on the front steps of the mansion where she had worked for 5 years. 5 years of waking up at 5 in the morning to prepare breakfast. 5 years of cleaning, organizing, running errands. 5 years of being available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 5 years of missing holidays with her own family so the Pattersons could have perfect celebrations. And now she had nothing. She walked down the steps on shaking legs. The neighbors whispered to each other, not even trying to hide it. Mrs. Chin from next door, who Simone had helped carry groceries many times, turned away quickly. Mr. Rodriguez, whose dog Simone had found when it ran away, stared at her with disgust. The walk down the long driveway felt like walking through fire. Every step was harder than the last. When she reached the street, she didn't know which way to go. Left? Right? It didn't matter. She had nowhere to go anyway. She turned right and started walking. 1 foot in front of the other. That was all she could manage. 1 foot in front of the other. Behind her, she heard a car start. She glanced back and saw Charles getting into the Patterson's second car. He drove past her without looking, probably going to her apartment to pack up her things and put them in storage where she could never afford to get them back. The reality of her situation began to sink in as she walked through the wealthy neighborhood. She had no money, no phone, no identification, no way to contact her mother and sister who lived 3 states away, no friends because she had been too busy working to make any, no references because who would hire her now? She was 32 years old, and in 1 hour her entire life had been destroyed. By the time she reached the commercial district, her feet hurt. She was still wearing her work shoes, plain black flats that were meant for standing on for hours but not for walking miles. She passed a coffee shop and thought about going in, but what would she say? She had no money to buy anything. She kept walking until she found a small park. It wasn't nice like the parks in the wealthy neighborhoods. The grass was patchy and the playground equipment looked old. But there was a bench and Simone's feet couldn't carry her any further. She sat down hard and finally let herself cry. Not quiet tears anymore, but deep sobs that shook her whole body. People walked past, some glanced at her with concern, others with disgust. No one stopped. How had this happened? Just this morning she had woken up in her clean little apartment, made her coffee and headed to work like she did every day. She had hummed while she worked, thinking about how next year she might finally have saved enough to take a vacation. Maybe visit her mother. Now she had nothing. Less than nothing. The sun moved across the sky. Hours passed. Simone sat on that bench and watched the world go by. Mothers with children. Teenagers laughing. An old man feeding pigeons. Normal people living normal lives while hers fell apart. As evening approached, the temperature dropped. Simone had only her uniform, a simple black dress with white trim. No jacket. The thought of spending the night on this bench terrified her, but she had no other option. She pulled her knees up to her chest and wrapped her arms around them, trying to stay warm. Trying not to think about what tomorrow would bring. Trying not to think about the fact that somewhere in that mansion, the real thief was probably laughing at her. Because Simone knew, deep in her soul, that she had been set up. Someone had taken that necklace and made sure she would be blamed. But who? And why? And how could she ever prove her innocence now? The sky turned dark and the park emptied. Simone was alone with her thoughts and her fear and her broken heart. This was her life now. The night was the longest of Simone's life. Every sound made her jump. Every shadow seemed threatening. The bench was hard and cold, and no matter how she positioned herself, she couldn't get comfortable. Her body ached from sitting in one position for too long, but she was afraid to lie down. Afraid to look even more vulnerable than she already was. Around midnight, a police car drove slowly through the park. Simone held her breath as the officer shined a flashlight in her direction. The light blinded her for a moment and then moved on. The car kept going. She didn't know if she felt relieved or disappointed. At least in jail she would have a bed. No, she told herself firmly. Jail was not an option. She was innocent. She hadn't stolen anything. She couldn't let them arrest her for a crime she didn't commit. But how could she prove her innocence? She had no resources. No way to hire a lawyer. No way to investigate who really took the necklace. She was powerless, and the people who had destroyed her life had all the power in the world. When the sun finally rose, Simone felt like she had aged 10 years overnight. Her dress was wrinkled and dirty. Her hair, which she had always kept neatly pulled back, was a mess. She probably looked exactly like what people would expect a thief to look like. Her stomach growled, a painful reminder that she hadn't eaten since breakfast yesterday. She stood up slowly, her joints protesting, and looked around the park. A few early morning joggers ran past, not even glancing her way. Simone started walking again. She didn't have a destination, just knew she couldn't stay in one place. Maybe if she kept moving she would figure out what to do. She walked through neighborhoods she had never seen before. Some nice, some run down. She passed restaurants that were opening for breakfast, the smell of food making her stomach twist with hunger. She passed a homeless man sitting outside a convenience store, a cup in front of him for change. Was that her future? Begging on the street? By midday the sun was hot and Simone was dizzy from hunger and thirst. She saw a public library and went inside, grateful for the air conditioning and the bathroom where she could wash her face and hands. The water from the sink tasted metallic, but she drank it anyway, cupping her hands again and again. She looked at herself in the bathroom mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying. Her skin looked dull. There was a stain on her dress that she didn't remember getting. A library employee, a young woman with kind eyes, came into the bathroom. "Are you okay, miss?" she asked gently. Simone wanted to say yes, wanted to hold on to her dignity, but what dignity did she have left? "No," she whispered. "I'm not okay. Can I help you with something? Do you need to use a phone? We have a community resources list if you need assistance." For a moment, hope flickered in Simone's chest. "I need to make a call. To my mother. But I don't know her number by heart. It's in my phone and my phone was taken from me." "We have computers you can use," the woman said. "If you know her email address, you could try to reach her that way?" Simone tried to remember her mother's email. She had it written down somewhere in her apartment, but she couldn't recall it off the top of her head. Her mother barely used email anyway, checking it maybe once a month. I don't remember it, Simone admitted, feeling tears threaten again. I don't remember anything. I always just called her. The librarian looked sympathetic but helpless. I'm sorry. Is there anything else I can do? No, Simone said. Thank you for being kind. She left the library and kept walking. Her feet had blisters now and every step hurt. But stopping hurt more because stopping meant thinking, and thinking meant facing the reality that she was homeless and alone and had no idea how to fix it. She found another park, this one with a water fountain. She drank until her stomach sloshed, then sat on the grass under a tree. A few families were having picnics nearby. Children laughed and played. It all seemed so far away from her reality. That afternoon she saw a restaurant with a help wanted sign in the window. Hope surged again. She smoothed her dress as best she could, tried to fix her hair and walked inside. The manager was a middle-aged man with a tired face. He looked her up and down, his expression going from neutral to suspicious. I saw your sign, Simone said, trying to sound confident. I'm looking for work. Any position. I'm a hard worker. I'm reliable. I've worked in household management for 5 years. I know how to clean, organize, cook. I can do anything you need. You have references? The manager asked. Simone's heart sank. No, not exactly. I left my last position suddenly. There was a misunderstanding. Aha. The manager crossed his arms. You got ID? It was stolen. Simone lied, not wanting to admit the truth. Can't hire you without ID. Sorry. He turned away, dismissing her. Please, Simone said, hating the desperation in her voice. Just give me a chance. I'll work a day for free to prove myself. Lady, I can't have people working here without proper documentation. Insurance reasons. Now if you're not going to order something, I need you to leave. Simone walked out, blinking back tears. She tried 3 more places that afternoon. A grocery store, a gas station, a dry cleaner. All of them wanted identification and references. None of them would even consider her. By evening she was back in the first park, back on the same bench. Her second night on the street. She was so hungry that her hands shook. So thirsty despite drinking from every public fountain she found. So tired that she could barely keep her eyes open, but so scared that she couldn't sleep. An older woman walked by walking her dog, a small fluffy thing on a pink leash. The woman looked at Simone with pity, reached into her purse and pulled out a $5 bill. Here, dear, she said, holding it out. Simone stared at the money. Just yesterday she would have been mortified to accept charity. Yesterday she had pride. Today she took the $5 with shaking hands. Thank you, she whispered. There's a shelter 2 blocks north, the woman said. They serve dinner until 8. You should go. After she left, Simone looked at the $5 in her hand. She could buy food. But what about tomorrow? And the day after? $5 wouldn't solve her problems. But her stomach hurt so badly that she couldn't think about tomorrow. She could only think about right now. She found a fast food place and bought a burger and small fries. She ate slowly, making each bite last, trying to remember the last time food had tasted this good. The employees watched her carefully, probably making sure she didn't cause trouble. When she finished, she sat in the booth for as long as they would let her, grateful for the warmth and the light. But eventually, an employee came over. We're closing in 10 minutes, he said, not unkindly. Simone nodded and left. Back to the park. Back to the bench. Back to the cold and the darkness and the fear. She pulled her knees to her chest again and stared up at the stars. Somewhere up there, her mother was probably watching the same stars, having no idea that her daughter's life had fallen apart. Somewhere, the Pattersons were sleeping in their comfortable beds, not caring that they had destroyed an innocent person. And somewhere, the real thief was getting away with it. Simone closed her eyes and prayed. She wasn't particularly religious, hadn't been to church since she was a child, but she prayed anyway. Prayed for help. Prayed for a miracle. Prayed for someone, anyone, to see her and care. The night was cold again. Simone shivered and tried to sleep, but sleep wouldn't come. She was trapped in a nightmare and she couldn't wake up. On the 3rd morning, Simone woke to rain. Cold drops fell on her face, soaking through her dress within minutes. She had nowhere to go to escape it. The library wouldn't open for another hour. The shops weren't open yet. She huddled under the tree, but its leaves offered little protection. The rain made everything worse. Her clothes stuck to her skin. Her feet squished in her ruined shoes. She shivered uncontrollably, her teeth chattering so hard they hurt. When the rain finally stopped an hour later, Simone was soaked to the bone. The sun came out, bright and mocking. She knew she should move, should try to find somewhere to dry off, but she felt paralyzed. What was the point? Nothing she did mattered. No one would hire her. She had no way to contact her family. She was stuck in this nightmare. Her stomach growled again, painful and insistent. She hadn't eaten since the burger yesterday. The $5 was gone. She had no money and no way to get more. The thought came to her suddenly, shameful but necessary. She would have to look for food where she could find it. She waited until midday when the streets were busy and she could blend in with the crowd. Then she walked to the restaurant district, the area with expensive places where rich people ate. Behind those restaurants would be dumpsters. And in those dumpsters would be food that was thrown away. The thought made her sick, but her hunger was stronger than her disgust. She found an alley behind an Italian restaurant. The dumpster was large and green with a heavy lid. Simone looked around to make sure no one was watching, then lifted the lid. The smell hit her first. Rotting food, sour and sweet and awful. She gagged but forced herself to look inside. There were bags of trash, some split open, spilling their contents. She saw moldy bread, spoiled vegetables, something that might have been pasta. She was reaching for a bag that looked less disgusting than the others when a voice behind her made her jump. "What are you doing?" Simone spun around, her heart racing. A man stood at the mouth of the alley, backlit by the sun so she couldn't see his face clearly. He was tall, wearing chef's whites, his arms crossed over his chest. "I'm sorry," Simone stammered. I didn't mean. I'll go." She tried to walk past him, but he moved to block her path. Not threatening, just stopping her from leaving. "Hold on," he said. His voice was deep but not unkind. "Were you looking for food?" Simone wanted to lie, wanted to save what little dignity she had left, but what was the point? He had seen what she was doing. "Yes," she said quietly, not meeting his eyes. "In my dumpster?" He sounded more curious than angry. "I'm sorry. I won't do it again. I'll go somewhere else." "Wait." He studied her for a moment. In the light she could see him better now. He was African American like her, probably in his late 30s, with kind eyes and a strong jawline. "When's the last time you ate?" "Yesterday," Simone admitted. "A burger?" "Before that. Monday morning, I think. I've lost track of days." "It's Wednesday," he said. "Then, come with me." Simone hesitated. Her mother had always warned her not to trust strangers, especially when she was vulnerable. But this man had found her digging through his trash. How much more vulnerable could she get? "Come on," he said again, gentler this time. "I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to give you something to eat. A proper meal." Against her better judgment, Simone followed him. They went through a back door into a kitchen that was bright and clean and smelled amazing. Several other workers were there, chopping vegetables and stirring pots. They looked up when she entered, their expressions ranging from surprise to concerned. "Everyone keep working," the man said. "Maria, can you make up a plate? Something hot and filling." A woman with graying hair nodded and started piling food onto a plate. Pasta with red sauce, bread, a salad. The man gestured for Simone to sit on a stool near the back door. She sat carefully, very aware of how dirty and wet she was, how out of place she looked in this clean kitchen. "I'm Elijah," the man said. "This is my restaurant." "Simone," she replied quietly. Maria brought over the plate of food, along with a glass of water. Simone stared at it, hardly able to believe it was real. "Go ahead," Elijah said. "Eat." She picked up the fork with shaking hands and took a bite. The food was delicious, better than anything she had tasted in years. She tried to eat slowly to maintain some dignity, but her hunger won out. She ate quickly, barely tasting it, just needing to fill the empty ache in her stomach. When the plate was empty, Maria brought another. And then another. Finally, Simone's stomach felt full for the first time in days. She drank the water, then another glass, then another. "Thank you," she said to Elijah, her voice thick with emotion. "Thank you so much." "You want to tell me what happened?" he asked, pulling up another stool to sit across from her. Simone didn't want to talk about it, didn't want to relive the humiliation. But this man had fed her when he didn't have to. He deserved an explanation. So she told him. About the Pattersons and the accusation. About being thrown out with nothing. About the past 3 days on the street. She kept her voice flat, trying not to cry, but tears came anyway. Elijah listened without interrupting. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. "That's rough," he finally said. "That's really rough. And you really didn't take the necklace." "I swear on everything I didn't," Simone said. "I don't know who did, but it wasn't me." "I believe you," Elijah said simply. Those 3 words meant more than he could possibly know. Someone believed her. Someone saw her and didn't assume she was a thief. "What are you going to do now?" he asked. I don't know, Simone admitted. I've been trying to find work, but no one will hire me without ID and references. I don't know how to contact my family. I'm stuck. Elijah was quiet again, thinking. Then he stood up. I need a dishwasher, he said. Last one quit 2 weeks ago. It's not glamorous work. Long hours, hot conditions, minimum wage. But it's a job. I can pay you cash until you get your documentation sorted out. Simone stared at him. You'd hire me? Just like that? You don't even know me. I know you were willing to dig through garbage rather than steal or beg, Elijah said. That tells me something about your character. And I'm a pretty good judge of people. You seem honest. You seem like someone who's had bad luck, not someone who's bad. I am honest, Simone said desperately. I swear. I'll work harder than anyone. I'll never be late. I'll do anything you need. I believe that, Elijah said. But there's one more thing. You need a place to stay. I have a small apartment above the restaurant. Used to rent it out, but the last tenant moved out a month ago. It's not much. 1 room, tiny bathroom, old furniture. But it's clean and it's dry and it's yours if you want it. I'll take the rent out of your paycheck. Simone couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. This couldn't be real. Things like this didn't happen. Strangers didn't just offer jobs and apartments to homeless people they found in alleys. Why? She finally managed to ask. Why would you help me like this? Elijah smiled, a sad smile. Because 5 years ago I was where you are. Lost everything in a bad business deal. Ended up on the street. Someone gave me a chance when they didn't have to. Helped me get back on my feet. I promised myself if I ever made it, I'd do the same for someone else. Guess that someone is you. I don't know what to say, Simone whispered. Say you'll show up for work tomorrow morning at 6, Elijah said. Say you'll work hard and treat my restaurant with respect. That's all I need to hear. I will, Simone said, standing up. I promise. I'll be the best employee you've ever had. Good. Come on, I'll show you the apartment. You look like you could use a shower and some sleep. He led her through the restaurant, which was beautiful with exposed brick walls and soft lighting, then up a narrow staircase. The apartment was small, just like he said, but to Simone it looked like a palace. There was a bed with clean sheets, a small kitchen, a bathroom with a shower, windows that let in light. Towels are in the closet, Elijah said. There's some basic food in the fridge, leftovers from the restaurant. Help yourself. Get some rest. I'll see you tomorrow morning. After he left, Simone stood in the middle of the room and cried. But this time they weren't tears of despair. They were tears of relief and gratitude and hope. She took a long hot shower, washing away days of dirt and fear. She put on one of the clean shirts she found in the closet, too big but soft and comfortable. She ate more food from the fridge, not because she was hungry but because she couldn't quite believe it was real. Then she lay down on the bed, clean and fed and safe, and slept. The alarm clock Elijah had left for her went off at 5:30 in the morning. Simone woke up confused, not remembering where she was. Then it all came back. The apartment. The job. The second chance. She got up quickly, afraid it might all disappear if she wasn't fast enough. She washed her face, brushed her teeth with the toothbrush and toothpaste Elijah had thoughtfully left in the bathroom, and put on her black dress. It was wrinkled and stained, but it was all she had. At 5:45 she went downstairs to the restaurant. Elijah was already there with Maria and 2 other workers. Morning, Elijah said with a smile. You're early. I like that. Come on, let me show you the dishwashing station. He led her to the back of the kitchen where a large industrial sink and dishwasher sat. Pretty straightforward. Scrape the plates, rinse them, load them into the dishwasher. Pots and pans get hand-washed in this sink. Gloves are under the counter. Any questions? No, Simone said. I can do this. I know you can, Elijah said. We open at 7. It'll be slow at first, then picks up around noon. Lunch is our busy time. You get a break at 3 for 30 minutes. Dinner service starts at 5. We close at 10. It's a long day. I don't mind, Simone said. Long days are fine. And she meant it. As the day went on and the dirty dishes piled up, she worked steadily and quickly. Her hands got wrinkled from the water. Her back hurt from standing. The heat from the dishwasher made her sweat. But none of it mattered because she had a job. She had a purpose. She wasn't invisible anymore. The other staff members were friendly. Maria brought her lunch during her break, a huge sandwich and soup. You're too skinny, she said in accented English. You need to eat more. The other workers, 2 young men named Anthony and Carlos, joked with her as they worked. You're doing good, Anthony said. Last dishwasher we had was always complaining. You don't complain. I don't have anything to complain about, Simone said honestly. At the end of the night, when the last dish was clean and put away, Elijah came over. Good work today, he said. Really good. Here's your pay for the day. He handed her $50 in cash. Tomorrow, same time? Yes, Simone said. Thank you. For everything. Thank you, Elijah replied. I can tell you're going to work out just fine. Simone went upstairs to her apartment, exhausted but happy. She counted the $50, thinking about what she needed. Clothes, definitely. Toiletries. She'd have to be careful with her money, but at least she had money now. The days fell into a rhythm. Wake up at 5:30. Work until 10. Sleep. Repeat. It was hard work, harder than working for the Pattersons in many ways because it was physical labor. But it was honest work, and Simone felt proud at the end of each day. After a week, Elijah called her into his office. Sit down, he said, gesturing to a chair. Simone sat, nervous. Was she being fired? Had she done something wrong? Relax, Elijah said, seeing her expression. You're not in trouble. Actually, I want to talk to you about something. I've been watching you work this week. You're good. Really good. Fast, efficient, never complaining. But I've also been watching how you watch the restaurant. I'm sorry, Simone said quickly. I know I'm supposed to focus on the dishes. I won't. No, Elijah interrupted. That's not what I mean. I see you watching how things work. How the orders come in, how the kitchen handles the rush, how the servers interact with customers. You're interested. You're learning. I am, Simone admitted. I can't help it. It's fascinating. The way everything has to come together at the right time. Like a dance. Elijah smiled. Exactly like a dance. Tell me something. Did you go to college? 2 years, Simone said. Business management. Then my dad got sick and I had to drop out to help with bills. After he died, I never went back. That's when I took the job with the Pattersons. Business management, Elijah repeated. That's interesting. Look, I'm not saying this to put pressure on you. You're doing great where you are. But if you want to learn more about running a restaurant, I'm willing to teach you. After your shift, if you're not too tired, you could help me with paperwork, inventory, that kind of thing. I'll pay you extra. Simone's heart raced. Really? You'd teach me? Why not? Elijah shrugged. You're smart and you work hard. Those are the two most important things. The rest can be learned. What do you say? Yes, Simone said immediately. Absolutely yes. Thank you. So her days got longer, but she didn't mind. After the restaurant closed, she'd sit in Elijah's office and learn how to manage inventory so they never ran out of supplies but never wasted money on too much. How to schedule staff efficiently. How to read profit and loss statements. How to deal with suppliers and negotiate prices. You're a natural at this, Elijah said one night as they went over the books. You see patterns I didn't even notice. I like it, Simone said. It's like solving a puzzle. Everything has to fit together just right. As weeks turned into a month, then 2, Simone felt herself changing. She wasn't the scared, broken woman who had dug through that dumpster anymore. She was stronger now. More confident. She had purpose again. She used her paychecks carefully. She bought clothes from thrift stores. Good, professional clothes that fit properly. She bought comfortable shoes. She got a cheap phone, though she still didn't have her mother's number. She looked into getting a replacement ID. One day, Elijah asked her to cover for the hostess who called in sick. Simone was nervous, but she did it, greeting customers with a smile, managing the seating chart, handling complaints with grace. You were great up front, Elijah told her at the end of the night. Customers loved you. I liked it, Simone admitted. Interacting with people. Making them feel welcome. How would you feel about becoming assistant manager? Elijah asked. It would mean more responsibility. Training new staff, opening and closing the restaurant sometimes when I'm not here, handling customer issues. More pay too. I'd feel honored, Simone said. But are you sure? I've only been here 2 months. In those 2 months, you've proven yourself more than some people who worked here for years, Elijah said. You're reliable, smart, and you care about this place. That's what I need in an assistant manager. Then yes, Simone said. I'd love to. That night, alone in her apartment, Simone looked at herself in the mirror. She looked different than she had 2 months ago. Healthier. Her eyes weren't dull anymore. Her smile was real. She thought about the Pattersons sometimes. Wondered if they ever thought about her. Wondered if they felt guilty for what they did. But mostly she tried not to think about them at all. They were her past. This restaurant, Elijah, her new life, that was her present and hopefully her future. She got into bed and opened her laptop, the cheap one she'd bought used. She'd been taking online courses in business management, finishing what she'd started years ago. It was slow going, working around her schedule, but she was determined. As she studied, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Real, genuine hope that her life could be good again. That she could be more than what had happened to her. And it was all because one man had looked at her with kindness instead of judgment. Had seen her worth when she'd forgotten she had any. She would never forget that. And someday when she was strong enough, she would pay it forward just like he had. 3 months into working at Elijah's restaurant, Simone woke up one morning and realized something surprising. She was happy. Not just content or getting by, but genuinely happy. It had been so long since she'd felt this way that it took her a moment to recognize the feeling. She got ready for work with energy she hadn't had in years. Working for the Pattersons had been draining, always being on call, always walking on eggshells, never quite good enough. Here she was appreciated. Her ideas were listened to. She was part of something. "Morning, boss lady," Carlos called out when she came into the kitchen. The staff had started calling her that after she became assistant manager, and she'd protested at first. But Elijah told her to embrace it. She'd earned the respect. "Morning," Simone replied with a smile. "Anthony, I noticed we're running low on olive oil. Can you add that to today's supply order?" "Already did," Anthony said. "Checked the inventory when I got in." "Perfect. You two are making my job too easy." The morning prep went smoothly. Simone had implemented a new system for organizing the walk-in refrigerator that saved time and reduced waste. She'd also created a better schedule rotation that gave everyone more consistent days off while keeping the restaurant fully staffed. "You're a genius," Maria had told her. "I finally get to see my grandkids on the same day every week." Now, as Simone checked that everything was ready for opening, Elijah came up beside her. "Got a minute?" he asked. "Want to talk to you about something." They went to his office and he pulled out some papers. "You know the building next door? The one that's been empty for a year? The old bookstore?" Simone asked. "That's the one. I've been thinking about expanding. Opening a second location, different concept. More casual, faster service, lower price point. Appeal to a different crowd." "That's exciting," Simone said. "I want you to help me design it," Elijah said. "The layout, the workflow, the menu. I trust your judgment. You see things I miss." Simone felt a rush of pride. "I'd love to help. I actually have some ideas already. I've been thinking about how lunch service gets so backed up because we can't turn tables fast enough. A casual spot next door could handle overflow and also attract the people who want good food but can't afford fine dining prices." Elijah grinned. "See? This is exactly why I want you involved. Start working on a proposal. Whatever you need, time, resources, just ask." Over the next few weeks, Simone threw herself into the project. She researched other restaurants, studied layouts, worked on menu ideas. She spent hours sketching floor plans, figuring out how to maximize space and efficiency. She was working on her laptop in the dining room one afternoon, during the quiet period between lunch and dinner, when a familiar voice made her freeze. "Wow, this place is nice. Never noticed it before." Simone looked up slowly. 3 young women stood at the entrance, looking around. One of them was Vanessa Patterson. The world seemed to stop. Simone couldn't breathe, couldn't move. The last time she'd seen Vanessa was the day she'd been accused, when the girl had stood beside her parents and said nothing while Simone's life was destroyed. Vanessa didn't notice her at first. She and her friends were too busy looking at the decor, reading the menu posted on the wall. "Should we stay?" one of the friends asked. "Yeah, why not?" Vanessa said. "I'm starving. That yoga class kicked my butt." They started to walk to a table. Simone knew she should get up, should greet them like she would any customer. That was her job. But she couldn't make herself move. Then Vanessa's eyes landed on her. For a second there was no recognition. Then her eyes widened. "Oh my God," Vanessa said. "Simone? Is that you?" Simone stood up on shaky legs. "Hello, Vanessa. What are you doing here?" Vanessa asked. Her friends looked confused. "I work here," Simone said, keeping her voice steady. "I'm the assistant manager." But I thought." Vanessa trailed off, looking uncomfortable. "You thought what?" Simone asked. "That I'd be in jail? That I'd be living on the streets?" Vanessa's face flushed. "Look, about what happened." "What happened?" one of her friends asked. "Who is this?" She used to work for my parents, Vanessa said quickly. It's complicated. It's not complicated at all, Simone said, surprised by her own boldness. I was falsely accused of theft and thrown out with nothing. No charges were ever filed because there was no evidence. Because I didn't do it. Simone, come on, Vanessa said, glancing at her friends. Don't make this awkward. I'm making it awkward? Simone felt anger rising in her chest, hot and fierce. You and your family destroyed my life and I'm the one making things awkward? Elijah came out from the back, sensing tension. Everything okay here? Fine, Simone said, not taking her eyes off Vanessa. These customers were just leaving. We were? One of the friends said. Yes, Vanessa said quickly. Come on, let's go somewhere else. They left in a hurry. Simone stood there, shaking, her hands clenched into fists. Who was that? Elijah asked gently. The daughter of the family I worked for, Simone said. The ones who accused me. You okay? I don't know, Simone admitted. Her heart was racing and she felt sick. I thought I was over it. Thought I'd moved on. But seeing her. It brought it all back, Elijah finished. That's normal. That's human. I wanted to yell at her, Simone said. Wanted to demand answers. Why did they do it? Why me? What did I ever do to deserve it? But you didn't, Elijah pointed out. You kept your composure. That takes strength. Simone sat back down, her legs weak. I need a minute. Take all the time you need, Elijah said. I'll handle things up front. After he left, Simone sat there trying to process what had just happened. Part of her wished she'd said more, done more. But another part of her was proud that she'd held her head high. She had a good job now. A good life. She didn't need revenge or vindication from them. Except she realized she did want something. She wanted the truth to come out. She wanted people to know she was innocent. That she wasn't a thief. But how could she prove it? She had no evidence. It was her word against theirs, and they had money and power and she had nothing. Or did she? She had skills now. She had knowledge. She had friends and people who believed in her. Maybe that was enough. That evening, after the restaurant closed, Simone told Elijah what she was thinking. I want to clear my name, she said. I don't know how, but I can't just let this go. Not anymore. Okay, Elijah said simply. What do you need from me? Just support, Simone said. And maybe advice. You know about business, about investigations. If you were me, where would you start? I'd start by finding out what really happened to that necklace, Elijah said. Things like that don't just disappear. Someone took it. If it was pawned or sold, there would be a record. If you can prove someone else sold it, that proves it wasn't you. But how do I find that out? Simone asked. Private investigator maybe? Elijah suggested. I know a guy. Used to be a cop. He's good and he's not too expensive. Want me to reach out? I can't afford it, Simone said. She'd been saving her money but not that much. I'll loan you the money, Elijah offered. Pay me back when you can. Simone shook her head. You've done too much for me already. Think of it as an investment, Elijah said. I need my assistant manager to be focused and happy. Hard to do that with this hanging over you. Let me help. After a long moment, Simone nodded. Okay, thank you. Again. Don't thank me yet, Elijah said. We haven't found anything. But we will. The truth always comes out eventually. Simone hoped he was right. Because she was done running from her past. She was done being the victim. It was time to fight back and reclaim her name. That night, lying in bed, she felt different. Stronger. More determined. She'd spent months rebuilding her life from nothing. Now it was time to finish what the Pattersons had started. And she would do it her way. With dignity, with grace, and with the truth. The private investigator's name was Gerald Harris. He was in his 50s, with gray hair and sharp eyes that seemed to see everything. He met Simone and Elijah at the restaurant on a Tuesday afternoon, during the quiet time after lunch. Tell me everything, Gerald said, pulling out a notebook. Start from the beginning. Simone told him the whole story. Every detail she could remember. The day of the accusation, the necklace description, the names of everyone in the household, everything. Did anyone else have access to the bedroom that day? Gerald asked. Mrs. Patterson was there in the morning, Simone said, thinking back. And Vanessa, their daughter, had been there the night before. She'd borrowed earrings for a party. But I was the only staff member who went in that day. What about the son? They have a son? No, just Vanessa, Simone said. Gerald made notes. Tell me about Vanessa. What's she like? Spoiled, Simone said honestly. Nice enough when she wanted something but entitled. Always buying expensive things. Traveled a lot. Her parents paid for everything. Any financial problems that you know of? Not that I saw. But I was just the maid. I wouldn't necessarily know. Gerald nodded. I'll look into it. $50,000 necklace is hard to move without leaving a trail. If someone pawned it or sold it privately, there'll be records. Give me 2 weeks. After he left, Simone tried to focus on work, but it was hard. The investigation felt like opening an old wound. Part of her wondered if she should just let it go. She had a good life now. Did she really need to dig up the past? But every time she thought about giving up, she remembered that moment in the Patterson foyer. The humiliation. The fear. The injustice. She deserved to have her name cleared. The 2 weeks passed slowly. Simone threw herself into the expansion project, finalizing the design for the new restaurant. She and Elijah had decided to call it the Corner Table, and make it family-friendly with a menu that focused on comfort food done well. She was working on staff training manuals when Vanessa came back. This time she was alone. She stood at the entrance looking nervous. Simone saw her through the window and her stomach dropped. She considered hiding in the back, letting someone else deal with her. But that was the old Simone. The new Simone faced her problems head-on. She walked to the door and stepped outside. What do you want? To talk, Vanessa said. Just for a minute? Please. Simone crossed her arms. So talk. Vanessa glanced around nervously. Not here. Can we go somewhere private? No, Simone said firmly. Whatever you have to say, you can say it here. Vanessa bit her lip. Look, I know you hate me. I don't blame you. What happened to you was terrible. What happened to me? Simone repeated. You mean what your family did to me? Yes, Vanessa said quietly. That's what I mean. I wanted to say I'm sorry. I should have said something that day. Should have stood up for you. I didn't and I regret it. You regret it? Simone said flatly. That makes everything better then. No, it doesn't, Vanessa said. I know it doesn't. But I wanted you to know that I didn't believe you took it. I told my parents that. They wouldn't listen. If you didn't think I took it, then who did? Simone asked. Vanessa was quiet for a long moment. I don't know. She was lying. Simone could see it in her face, in the way she wouldn't meet her eyes. Yes, you do, Simone said. You know exactly what happened. I don't, Vanessa insisted. I swear. Then why are you really here? Simone asked. Because I don't think it's to apologize. You could have done that months ago. Vanessa's face crumpled. Because I heard my parents talking. They said someone's been asking questions about the necklace. About where it went. They're worried. Good, Simone said. They should be worried. Please don't do this, Vanessa said. My mother has been through enough. The scandal will destroy her. The scandal? Simone laughed, a bitter sound. You're worried about scandal? I was homeless. I had nothing. I slept on park benches and ate from dumpsters. But sure, let's worry about your mother's reputation. I know, Vanessa said. I know it's not fair. But please, can't you just let it go? You have a good job now. You're doing well. Why dredge up the past? Because the past is a lie, Simone said. And I want the truth. The truth won't change anything, Vanessa said desperately. It'll just hurt people. It'll hurt the guilty people, Simone corrected. The ones who deserve to be hurt. Vanessa opened her mouth to say something else, but her phone buzzed. She looked at it and her face went pale. I have to go, she said quickly. Please, Simone. Think about what I said. She hurried to her car, an expensive sports car that probably cost more than Simone would make in 2 years. As she drove away, Simone noticed something. Vanessa kept checking her phone, typing frantically. She looked scared. Something was happening. Something bigger than Simone had realized. She went back inside and pulled out her own phone. She texted Gerald. Vanessa Patterson just came to see me. Asked me to drop the investigation. She's scared about something. His reply came fast. Good. That means we're close. I'll have news for you soon. That evening the restaurant was busy. A party of 10, several couples, a family with small children. Simone worked the front, greeting guests, managing the chaos with practiced ease. She was seating a couple at a corner table when she heard familiar voices. A group of women had come in, laughing loudly. One of them was Vanessa again, with the same friends from before. But this time, Vanessa didn't see Simone. She was too busy talking. I'm telling you, it's a disaster, Vanessa said to her friends as they sat down. My parents are freaking out. Someone's been calling pawn shops, showing pictures of Mom's jewelry. Why would someone do that? One friend asked. Because of that whole thing with the maid, Vanessa said. The one I told you about. She hired an investigator or something. But I thought you said she stole the necklace, another friend said. Vanessa was quiet for a moment. Then in a lower voice, she didn't steal it. I did. Simone froze. She was standing behind a partition hidden from their view. They had no idea she could hear them. You what? One of the friends gasped. I had debts, Vanessa said. Gambling debts. Bad ones. I needed money fast or these guys were going to, let's just say it would have been really bad. So I took Mom's necklace and pawned it. Got $30,000 for it. Paid off most of what I owed. Oh my God, Vanessa. I know, Vanessa said. It was stupid. But I didn't think anyone would notice right away. Mom never wore that necklace. And when she did notice, I suggested that the maid must have taken it. I didn't think they'd actually throw her out. I thought they'd just fire her and report it to the police, but there'd be no evidence so nothing would happen. But she ended up homeless, one friend said. I didn't know that would happen. Vanessa said defensively. How was I supposed to know they'd take her stuff and kick her out immediately? Besides, she's fine now. She has a job. This is so messed up, a friend said. Yeah, well, what's done is done, Vanessa said. But now my parents are trying to track down the necklace to protect me. If that investigator finds the pawn records, they'll show I sold it. My parents will be furious. Worse, the maid could sue us. Press charges against me for theft and filing a false report. What are you going to do? I don't know, Vanessa said. Try to convince her to drop it, I guess. Offer her money. Whatever it takes. Simone's hands were shaking. She slowly pulled out her phone and opened the voice recording app. She pressed record and moved closer to their table, pretending to adjust a nearby chair. I feel kind of bad, Vanessa continued. She seems like she was nice. But I can't let this come out. My reputation would be destroyed. No one would ever trust me again. Maybe you should just tell your parents the truth, one friend suggested. Are you crazy? Vanessa said. They'd cut me off. I'd have nothing. You already have nothing, another friend said quietly. You're 30 years old and you still live off your parents. When are you going to grow up? When I'm ready, Vanessa snapped. Look, can we just drop this? Let's order. I need a drink. Simone stopped the recording. Her heart was pounding so hard she thought everyone in the restaurant must be able to hear it. She had it. She had proof. Vanessa's own confession. She quickly sent the audio file to Gerald with a message. Got it? She just confessed to everything. Then she went to find Elijah. He was in the kitchen, expediting orders. I need to talk to you, she said quietly. It's important. He saw her face and immediately nodded. Office. Now. In his office, she played him the recording. Elijah listened, his expression getting darker with each word. That's it, he said when it finished. That's everything you need. I know, Simone said. She felt strange. She'd wanted this, wanted proof, but now that she had it, she felt empty. Vanessa's voice, so casual about ruining Simone's life, made her sick. What do you want to do? Elijah asked. I want justice, Simone said. Real justice. Not revenge. Justice. Then let's call Gerald, Elijah said. And maybe a lawyer. Because you're going to get it. Gerald came to the restaurant the next morning with a lawyer named Patricia Monroe. She was a sharp woman in her 40s with a no-nonsense attitude. This recording is good, Patricia said after listening to it. Very good. It's a clear confession. Admissible in court. You have grounds for several lawsuits. Civil suits against Vanessa and her parents for wrongful termination, defamation, emotional distress. You could also press criminal charges for filing a false report. What would that mean? Simone asked. For them, I mean. Vanessa could face jail time for theft and false reporting, Patricia said. Her parents could face charges for their part in destroying evidence and falsely accusing you. Plus, they'd be liable for significant damages in the civil suits. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, potentially. Simone sat back, overwhelmed. Part of her wanted to throw the book at them. They deserved it. They had destroyed her life without a second thought. But another part of her, the part that had spent months rebuilding herself, wasn't sure revenge was the answer. What if I don't want to press charges? She asked. What if I just want my name cleared? Then we send the recording to the police anyway, Patricia said. Let them investigate. Once they confirm the story, you'll be officially cleared of any suspicion. We can also demand a public apology from the Patterson family. And you should absolutely pursue the civil suit. You deserve compensation for what they did to you. But no jail time? Simone asked. That would be up to the prosecutor, Patricia said. But if you don't cooperate with criminal charges, they might decide not to pursue it. Elijah, who had been quiet, spoke up. Simone, you don't have to decide right now. Take some time. Think about what you really want. I know what I want, Simone said. I want them to admit what they did. I want people to know I didn't steal anything. I want an apology. But I don't want revenge. Sending Vanessa to jail won't make me feel better. Are you sure? Patricia asked. Because you have every right to be angry. I am angry, Simone said. I'm furious. But I'm also tired. Tired of carrying this around. Tired of letting them have power over me. If I spend years in court battles trying to destroy them, aren't I just giving them more of my life? That's a mature way to look at it, Patricia said. Okay, here's what I suggest. We send the recording to the police and request a full investigation. We send a letter to the Patterson family's lawyer informing them that we have evidence of Vanessa's crime and their participation in falsely accusing you. We demand a public apology, a written statement clearing your name, and financial compensation for damages. If they agree to those terms, we don't pursue criminal charges beyond the police investigation. What if they don't agree? Simone asked. Then we take them to court and make their lives miserable, Patricia said with a slight smile. But trust me, they'll agree. People like that care more about their reputation than anything else. Facing public humiliation and a trial will scare them into cooperating. Okay, Simone said. Let's do it. Over the next week, things moved quickly. Gerald submitted the recording to the police. Patricia sent the letter to the Patterson family's lawyer. And then they waited. Simone tried to focus on work, but it was hard. The expansion project was moving forward. They'd hired contractors and were renovating the space next door. She should have been excited, but instead she felt numb. You okay? Elijah asked one evening after close. I thought I'd feel better, Simone admitted. I thought having proof would make everything okay. But I just feel empty. That's because justice isn't the same as healing, Elijah said. Justice is external. Healing is internal. You can have one without the other. How do I heal then? Simone asked. By living well, Elijah said. By building a life you're proud of. By not letting them take any more from you. You've already done that, Simone. Look at where you were 6 months ago and where you are now. You've rebuilt everything they destroyed. That's healing. I guess so, Simone said. It's just, I wanted them to suffer like I suffered. Is that terrible? It's human, Elijah said. But you're choosing not to act on it. That takes real strength. 3 days later, Patricia called. They want to settle. Simone's heart jumped. What are the terms? They're willing to pay $200,000 in damages. They'll issue a public statement clearing your name and taking full responsibility for the false accusation. Vanessa will publicly admit to the theft. And they'll provide you with references for any future employment. $200,000. It was more money than Simone had ever imagined having. What about the police investigation? She asked. It's ongoing, Patricia said. But without your cooperation, they probably won't press charges. The Pattersons know that. They're gambling that you'll take the money and move on. What do you think I should do? Simone asked. That's not for me to say, Patricia said. But I will tell you this. $200,000 is a lot of money. Could change your life. Give you security. Freedom. Options. And you'd get your name cleared publicly. That's what you wanted, right? Yes, Simone said slowly. Yes, that's what I wanted. Then I think you have your answer. That night, Simone sat in her apartment and thought about everything. The past 6 months had been a journey. From the lowest point of her life to where she was now. She had a job she loved. Friends who cared about her. A future that looked bright. The money would make things easier. She could pay Elijah back for all his help. She could finish her degree. Maybe even invest in the expansion, become a real partner in the restaurants. And the public statement would clear her name. Everyone would know she was innocent. The Pattersons would have to face the consequences of what they'd done. It wasn't revenge. But it was justice. She called Patricia the next morning. I'll take the settlement. Good choice, Patricia said. I'll draw up the papers. The public statement came out 2 weeks later. It was in the local newspaper and on the Patterson family's social media accounts. It was brief but clear. The Patterson family wishes to publicly apologize to Simone Walker for falsely accusing her of theft earlier this year. Our daughter Vanessa has admitted to taking the missing jewelry to cover personal debts. Ms. Walker was completely innocent of any wrongdoing. We deeply regret the harm we caused and take full responsibility for our actions. We wish Ms. Walker all the best in her future endeavors. Simone read it 3 times. It felt surreal. For 6 months she'd carried the weight of being accused of theft. Now, finally, officially, that weight was gone. Her phone started ringing almost immediately. People she used to know, old acquaintances from before she worked for the Pattersons. Some offered congratulations. Others offered sympathy. A few job offers came in from people who had heard about her work at the restaurant. She politely declined them all. She had everything she needed right where she was. The money came through a week after that. $200,000 transferred to a new bank account. Simone stared at the balance on her phone, hardly able to believe it. Her first call was to Elijah. "I want to pay you back. For everything. The investigation, the lawyer fees, all of it." "Keep your money," Elijah said. "Invest it. Grow it." "I want to invest in the expansion," Simone said. "I want to be a real partner. Put in 50,000. That's fair, right?" Elijah was quiet for a moment. "You sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything," Simone said. "Then okay," Elijah said. "Welcome aboard, partner." Simone smiled, the first real smile she'd felt in weeks. This was right. This was how it should be. Not revenge, but building something new and good. The past was finally behind her. The future was wide open. The corner table opened 3 months later. It was everything Simone had envisioned. Bright and welcoming, with an open kitchen, comfortable booths, and a menu that made people smile. Grilled cheese with tomato soup. Chicken pot pie. Mac and cheese with 5 different cheese options. Comfort food that tasted like home. Simone had poured her heart into every detail. She'd chosen the paint colors, a soft yellow that felt happy without being childish. She'd found the artwork, pieces from local artists showing scenes of the neighborhood. She trained the staff herself, teaching them that good service meant making people feel valued. Opening night was busy, almost too busy. Every table was full. The kitchen was slammed. But the team worked together smoothly, each person knowing their role. Simone stood at the hostess stand, greeting customers, managing the wait list. She was in her element. This was what she was meant to do. "2 for dinner?" she asked a couple who walked in. "Yes, please," the woman said. "This place is lovely. Is this new?" "Brand new," Simone said proudly. "Open today. Let me get you seated." She led them to a booth and handed them menus. "Your server will be right with you. Welcome to the corner table." As she walked back to the front, she caught Elijah's eye. He was in the kitchen, expediting tickets, but he paused to give her a thumbs up. She smiled back. This was their creation. Together. The night flew by. By closing time, Simone's feet hurt and her voice was hoarse from talking, but she felt amazing. The staff gathered for a quick meeting. "First night, everyone," Simone said. "And you killed it. Every single one of you. A few hiccups, but that's normal. We'll do a full debrief tomorrow, but for now, just know that you made this place special tonight." "Thank you." The staff clapped, tired but happy. They'd been worried about opening night, but they'd pulled it off. After everyone left, Simone and Elijah sat in one of the booths, each with a glass of wine. "To the corner table," Elijah said, raising his glass. "To new beginnings," Simone added. They clinked glasses and drank. The wine was cheap from the restaurant stock, but it tasted perfect. "You did good, partner," Elijah said. "Real good. This place is going to be a hit." "We did good," Simone corrected. "I couldn't have done this without you." "You could have," Elijah said. "Maybe not this soon, but eventually. You've got the talent and the drive. You'd have made it happen somehow." "Maybe," Simone said. "But I'm glad I didn't have to do it alone." They sat in comfortable silence for a while. Then Elijah said, "Can I ask you something?" "Sure." "What are you going to do with the rest of the settlement money? You put 50 into the business. That still leaves 150,000. Simone had been thinking about that. "Some of it I'm saving. Emergency fund, retirement, all the practical stuff. Some of it I want to use to finish my degree. And some of it—" She paused, a little embarrassed. "Some of it I want to use to help other people." "Help other people how?" "You helped me when I had nothing," Simone said. "You gave me a chance when no one else would. I want to do the same. Maybe set up a small fund for people in similar situations. Help them get back on their feet." Elijah smiled. That's a beautiful idea. It's a small thing, Simone said. Won't change the world or anything. But if I can help even one person the way you helped me, it'll be worth it. You're something special, Simone Walker, Elijah said softly. Their eyes met and held. Something had been building between them for months now. A connection that went beyond friendship. They'd both been careful not to acknowledge it, not wanting to complicate their working relationship. But sitting here now, in this restaurant they'd built together, Simone felt brave enough to acknowledge what she'd been feeling. Elijah, she started. I know, he interrupted gently. I feel it too. But, Simone said, hearing the hesitation in his voice. But I don't want to rush anything, Elijah said. You've been through so much this year. I don't want to be another complication. You wouldn't be, Simone said. You've been the opposite of a complication. You've been the person who made everything possible. Still, Elijah said. Let's take it slow. Keep building what we have professionally. See where it goes naturally. I'm not going anywhere. Neither am I, Simone said. Good, Elijah said. He reached across the table and took her hand. Because I really like having you around. Simone squeezed his hand. I really like being around. They sat like that for a while longer, hands linked, comfortable in the quiet. Eventually they cleaned up and locked the restaurant. Elijah walked her to her apartment upstairs, like he did every night. Sleep well, he said at her door. Big day tomorrow. You too, Simone said. After he left, Simone got ready for bed, her mind still buzzing with the excitement of the opening. She checked her phone and saw a text from her mother. She'd finally reconnected with her family a month ago, after the settlement. She'd been nervous to reach out, worried they'd be angry that she hadn't contacted them sooner. But her mother had cried with joy to hear her voice. I'm so proud of you, her mother had said. You went through something terrible and you came out stronger. That takes real courage. Now her mother texted regularly asking about the restaurants, about her life. Tonight's message said, heard the opening went great. Call me tomorrow and tell me all about it. Love you, baby girl. Simone smiled and replied, will do. Love you too. She got into bed and pulled out her laptop. She was taking 2 business classes now, working toward finishing her degree. It was slow going with the restaurant hours, but she was determined. Tonight's assignment was about business ethics. The professor wanted them to discuss a time when they'd faced an ethical dilemma in business. Simone thought about the Patterson situation. About the choice she'd made to accept the settlement instead of pushing for criminal charges. Some people might say she'd let them off easy. That she should have fought harder. But Simone didn't regret her choice. She'd gotten what mattered most. Her name cleared. Financial security. And peace of mind. She started typing her assignment, telling the story without names, analyzing her decision. It felt good to put it into words. To examine it objectively. When she finished, she looked at what she'd written. The conclusion was simple. Sometimes the best revenge wasn't revenge at all. It was living well. Building something good. Moving forward instead of staying stuck in the past. She submitted the assignment and closed her laptop. Tomorrow would be another busy day. The corner table would be full again. There would be problems to solve, decisions to make, work to do. But tonight, lying in her comfortable bed in her safe apartment, Simone felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Contentment. She'd come so far from that scared woman on the park bench. She'd built a life worth living. And this was just the beginning. 2 months after the corner table opened, Simone got a call from Patricia Monroe. Thought you'd want to know, Patricia said. The police finished their investigation into Vanessa Patterson. Simone's stomach tightened. She tried not to think about the Pattersons since the settlement. And? They're pressing charges after all, Patricia said. Multiple counts of theft from her parents, filing false police reports, and fraud. Turns out the necklace wasn't the first thing she'd stolen. She'd been taking her mother's jewelry for over a year, pawning it, using the money to gamble. The police found records of at least 15 different items. Total value over $300,000. Simone sat down hard. $300,000? Her parents had no idea, Patricia continued. They thought she was living off the allowance they gave her. But she'd gotten into online gambling and it spiraled. The debts kept growing. She kept stealing to pay them off. Wow, Simone said. She didn't know how to feel. Part of her felt vindicated. Part of her felt sad. Vanessa had thrown away everything for what? A gambling addiction? There's more, Patricia said. Mrs. Patterson called my office yesterday. She wants to talk to you. No, Simone said immediately. I don't want to talk to her. I told her that, Patricia said. But she's persistent. She says she needs to apologize in person. That the written statement wasn't enough. She's right, it wasn't enough, Simone said. But I still don't want to see her. I have nothing to say to her. Okay, Patricia said. I'll tell her. But Simone? One more thing. She's asking if you'll consider writing a letter to the judge. Asking for leniency for Vanessa. Simone laughed, a harsh sound. You're kidding. I'm not, Patricia said. I know it's ridiculous. I told her there's no way you'd agree. But I promised I'd ask. The answer is no, Simone said firmly. Vanessa made her choices. She has to live with the consequences. Just like I had to live with the consequences of her lies. That's what I figured, Patricia said. I'll let them know. After she hung up, Simone sat in her apartment processing the information. So Vanessa would face criminal charges after all. She'd probably get a plea deal, maybe probation, maybe some jail time. The Patterson family's reputation would be destroyed. Part of Simone felt like she should be happy about that. But mostly she just felt tired. Tired of the whole situation. She went downstairs to the restaurant. It was mid-afternoon, the quiet time between lunch and dinner. Elijah was in his office doing paperwork. Patricia called, Simone said from the doorway. He looked up. Yeah. She told him about Vanessa's charges and Mrs. Patterson's request. Elijah shook his head. The nerve of that woman. After what they did to you, she wants you to help her daughter. I know, Simone said. It's crazy. What did you tell Patricia? That the answer is no, Simone said. I'm not helping them. Not after everything. Good, Elijah said. Then, more gently, how are you feeling about all this? Honestly? Weird, Simone admitted. I thought I'd feel satisfied knowing Vanessa's facing consequences. But I just feel empty. Like it doesn't really matter anymore. That's because it doesn't, Elijah said. Not to your life now. You've moved on. You built something new. What happens to them doesn't affect you anymore. You're right, Simone said. I just wish they'd stop trying to pull me back in. Then don't let them, Elijah said. Tell Patricia to block their calls. You don't owe them anything. Not your time, not your energy, not your forgiveness. Simone nodded. You're right. I'll call her back and tell her that. Over the next few weeks, the Patterson situation played out in the local news. Vanessa was arrested and released on bail. The family hired expensive lawyers. There were articles about the socialite's fall from grace and the dark side of privilege. Simone's name came up sometimes as the woman who'd been falsely accused. A few reporters tried to contact her for interviews, but she declined them all. She had nothing to say. She was done with that chapter of her life. The corner table and Elijah's original restaurant were both doing well. They'd built a loyal customer base and people were talking about expanding to a third location. Simone was finishing her business degree and had started teaching a class at the local community center on resume building and job skills for people experiencing homelessness. You're doing what you said you wanted, Elijah told her one night as they closed the restaurant together. Helping people get back on their feet. It feels good, Simone said. These people just need someone to believe in them. Just like you believed in me. And look how that turned out, Elijah said with a smile. Best decision I ever made. They've been growing closer over the past months. Still taking it slow but definitely more than friends. They had dinner together on their days off. Went to movies. Took walks in the park where Simone had once spent those terrible nights. One evening as they walked past that same bench where she'd slept, Simone stopped. That's where I was, she said quietly. When I hit bottom. Right there. Elijah looked at the bench, then at her. Long way from there to here. Yeah, Simone said. Long way. You should be proud, Elijah said. Most people wouldn't have fought as hard as you did. Wouldn't have kept going. I had help, Simone said looking at him. I had you. You had yourself, Elijah corrected. I just gave you a chance. You did everything else. They stood there for a moment looking at that bench. A symbol of where she'd been and how far she'd come. Come on, Elijah said finally, taking her hand. Let's go home. As they walked away, Simone didn't look back. She didn't need to. The past was past. Her future was ahead of her, and it looked bright. A month later, Vanessa's case was resolved. She pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 2 years probation, community service, and mandatory counseling for gambling addiction. She also had to pay restitution to her parents for the stolen items. Patricia called to tell Simone the news. Thought you'd want to know it's finally over. Thanks, Simone said. I appreciate you keeping me informed. Will do. And Simone? You did good. You could have destroyed that family, but you chose the high road. That takes character. After the call, Simone realized Patricia was right. It was finally over. The whole nightmare was done. Vanessa would face consequences. The truth was public. Justice had been served. And Simone was free to move forward without anything holding her back. That night, she went to Elijah's office and found him going over the books for the third location they were planning. It's over, she said. The Patterson case. All of it. Finally over. Elijah smiled. Good. Now you can focus on what matters. What matters? Simone asked. This, Elijah said, gesturing to the plans on his desk. Our future. Our restaurants. Our lives. Our lives, Simone repeated, liking the sound of that. Elijah stood up and walked around the desk. He took both her hands in his. Simone Walker, he said seriously. I've been trying to take things slow. Trying to be respectful of everything you've been through. But I need you to know something. You're the most amazing woman I've ever met. You're strong and smart and kind. You've turned my business into something better than I could have imagined. You've made my life better. And I'd like to see where this goes. Officially. If you want that too. Simone felt her heart swell. I want that. I've wanted that for a while now. Yeah. Elijah said, his face breaking into a huge smile. Yeah, Simone confirmed. He pulled her into a hug and she wrapped her arms around him, feeling safe and happy and hopeful. This was right. This was good. This was the life she deserved. 6 months later, Simone stood outside their third restaurant location, watching the construction crew put up the sign. Walker's Kitchen, it read in elegant script. Her name. Her restaurant. Elijah had insisted. You designed this one from the ground up, he'd said. You picked the location, created the concept, hired the staff. It's yours. Walker's Kitchen was different from the other two restaurants. It was focused on community. Half the menu items were pay what you can, with profits from the other half subsidizing meals for people who couldn't afford to pay. She'd partnered with local homeless services to provide not just food but also job training, resume help, and support services. It was her way of paying forward what Elijah had done for her. Creating opportunities for people who needed a second chance. The grand opening was scheduled for next week, and Simone was nervous in the best way. This restaurant represented everything she'd overcome, everything she'd built, everything she'd become. Her phone rang. Her mother. Hi Mom, Simone answered. Baby girl, I'm on my way, her mother said. Flight lands at 3. I can't wait to see this restaurant you've been telling me about. I can't wait for you to see it either, Simone said. I'm picking you up at the airport. And Mom? Thank you for coming. Wouldn't miss it for the world, her mother said. I'm so proud of you, Simone. So incredibly proud. After they hung up, Simone felt tears in her eyes. Happy tears. Her mother hadn't been able to come to the other openings because of work, but she'd taken time off for this one. Her sister was coming too, flying in from Seattle with her family. Finally, after everything, Simone had her family back. Had her life back. Had herself back. Looking good, boss, one of the construction workers called out. Looking perfect, Simone agreed. That evening, she and Elijah had dinner at a nice restaurant, a rare night off for both of them. Nervous about next week? Elijah asked as they looked at the menus. Terrified, Simone admitted. What if nobody comes? What if the concept doesn't work? What if? It's going to be amazing, Elijah interrupted gently. Trust me. Trust yourself. You've got this. I know, Simone said. I do know. It's just big, you know? A year ago I was sleeping on a park bench. Now I'm opening my own restaurant. See? And people say fairy tales aren't real, Elijah joked. Simone laughed. This isn't a fairy tale. Fairy tales are easy. This was hard. Really hard. True, Elijah said. But you made it. That's what matters. They ordered their food and talked about the future. About the business. About possibly opening more locations. About life. I got an interesting email today, Simone said. From a production company. They want to do a short documentary about Walker's Kitchen. About the pay-what-you-can model and how it started. That's great publicity, Elijah said. I said no, Simone said. Why? Because I don't want to tell my story anymore, Simone said. The Patterson thing, being homeless, all of it. That's not who I am. I'm not the woman who was falsely accused and lost everything. I'm the woman who built 3 restaurants. Who's helping her community. who's living a good life. That's the story I want to tell, but I don't need a documentary to do it. Elijah nodded thoughtfully. I get that. But you know what? Your story could help people. Give them hope. Maybe, Simone said. Or maybe the best way to give people hope is to just keep doing the work. Show them what's possible through action, not words. Fair enough, Elijah said. It's your story. You get to decide how to tell it. Or not tell it. They finished dinner and walked through the city hand in hand. It was a beautiful night, warm with a light breeze. Street musicians played on corners. People laughed in outdoor cafes. Life was happening all around them. Can I tell you something? Elijah said as they walked. Always, Simone said. I love you, Elijah said. I know we said we'd take it slow, but I don't want to wait anymore to tell you that. I love you, Simone Walker. I love your strength and your heart and your determination. I love how you make me better. I love who we are together. Simone stopped walking and turned to face him. I love you too. I have for months now. I was just waiting for the right time to say it. Is this the right time? Elijah asked with a smile. It's the perfect time, Simone said. He kissed her, soft and sweet, and Simone felt like her heart might burst with happiness. This was real. This was hers. This was the life she'd built from nothing. The grand opening of Walker's Kitchen was perfect. Every table was full. The staff worked smoothly together. The pay-what-you-can system worked exactly as Simone had hoped, with people who could afford to pay doing so generously, and people who couldn't getting dignified, quality meals anyway. Her mother cried when she saw the restaurant. Oh baby, it's beautiful. Your daddy would have been so proud. Her sister hugged her tight. You did it, sis. You really did it. Local news covered the opening, focusing on the community aspect rather than Simone's personal story. She was grateful for that. She gave a brief interview about the importance of treating everyone with dignity, regardless of their circumstances. Everyone deserves good food and respect, she said to the reporter. That's what Walker's Kitchen is about. Community, connection, care. Elijah stayed by her side all night, supporting her, proud of her. When the last customer left and the staff had cleaned up, they sat together in one of the booths. You did it, Elijah said. Your dream became reality. Our dream, Simone corrected. None of this would be possible without you. Maybe we made each other's dreams possible, Elijah suggested. I like that, Simone said. As they sat there in the quiet restaurant, Simone reflected on the journey that had brought her here. The accusation, the homelessness, the kindness of a stranger, the hard work, the healing, the choice to move forward instead of staying stuck in anger. It hadn't been easy. There were still hard days, days when the trauma of what had happened tried to pull her back. Days when she wondered what might have been if the Pattersons had believed her. But those days were becoming fewer. Because the truth was, as terrible as that experience had been, it had also transformed her. She was stronger now. More compassionate. More determined. More grateful. She wouldn't have chosen that path. But walking through fire had forged her into someone capable of building something beautiful. A few weeks later, Simone was at Walker's Kitchen during the lunch rush when a young woman came in. She was dirty, her clothes worn, her eyes tired and scared. She stood at the entrance, looking uncertain. Simone walked over with a smile. Welcome to Walker's Kitchen. Table for one. I don't have any money, the woman said quietly. But I saw the sign that says pay what you can. Is that real? It's real, Simone assured her. Come on, let me get you seated. She led the woman to a quiet table in the corner. Take your time with the menu. Everything on it is available to you. When you're ready, just let your server know. Thank you, the woman whispered, tears in her eyes. You don't know what this means. I do actually, Simone said gently. I've been where you are. I know how hard it is. But things can get better. I promise. The woman looked up at her, hope flickering in her tired eyes. Really? Really, Simone said. Rest. And when you're ready, if you need help finding resources or a job, talk to me. We help with that too. After the woman ordered, Simone went to the kitchen and made her meal herself. She added extra portions, made sure it looked beautiful on the plate. When she brought it out, she included a gift card for 5 free meals. Come back, Simone said. As many times as you need. You're always welcome here. The woman cried and thanked her over and over. Simone understood. Sometimes, the simple act of being treated with dignity when you're at your lowest is enough to change everything. That night, she told Elijah about the encounter. You gave her what I gave you, Elijah said. A chance. Kindness. Hope. It felt right, Simone said. Like closing a circle. Or maybe opening a new one. Both, Elijah said. Definitely both. As the months passed, Walker's Kitchen became known throughout the city. Not just as a restaurant but as a place of hope. A place where anyone was welcome. A place where second chances were given freely. Simone finished her business degree and started teaching more classes at the community center. She set up the charitable fund she'd planned, using part of her settlement money to help people with job training, interview clothes, and temporary housing assistance. She stayed in touch with some of the people she'd helped. Watched them get back on their feet, find jobs, rebuild their lives. Each success felt personal, like another small victory against the injustice she'd faced. 1 year after opening Walker's Kitchen, Simone and Elijah got engaged. It was simple, just the two of them at the original restaurant after close. "I want to spend my life with you," Elijah said. "Building things together. Growing together. Loving each other. Will you marry me?" "Yes," Simone said without hesitation. "Yes, absolutely yes." They planned a small wedding at Walker's Kitchen, surrounded by family, friends, and the staff who had become like family. Simone wore a simple white dress. Her mother cried. Her sister stood as her maid of honor. And when the officiant asked if anyone objected to the union, Simone held her breath for just a second, half expecting the Pattersons to somehow appear and ruin this too. But they didn't. They were gone from her life completely. The past was finally, truly past. "I do," she said when it was her turn. "I do," Elijah echoed. And just like that, Simone Walker became Simone Walker Johnson. A business owner. A wife. A woman who had survived the worst and come out stronger. At the reception, her mother gave a toast. "My daughter has been through things no one should have to face. But she didn't let it break her. She built something beautiful from the ashes. She chose grace over revenge, hope over bitterness, love over hate. I couldn't be more proud of the woman she's become." Everyone raised their glasses. Simone wiped away happy tears. "Thank you," she said to the crowd. "Thank you all for being here. For supporting us. For being part of our story. I've learned that family isn't always about blood. It's about who shows up. Who believes in you. Who helps you become who you're meant to be. You're all my family and I'm grateful for each of you." As the party continued around her, Simone stepped outside for a breath of fresh air. She looked up at the stars, the same stars she'd looked at from that park bench a year and a half ago. "I made it," she whispered to the night sky. "I really made it." Elijah came out and wrapped his arms around her from behind. "What are you thinking about?" "How far I've come," Simone said. "How different my life is now." "Are you happy?" Elijah asked. Simone turned in his arms and smiled up at her husband. "I'm more than happy. I'm free. Free from the past. Free from fear. Free to build whatever life I want. And I want this. I want you. I want our restaurants. I want to keep helping people. I want it all." "Then let's go get it," Elijah said. They went back inside, back to their party, back to their life. A life built on hard work and second chances. A life that proved that sometimes the worst thing that happens to you can lead to the best thing. Simone had been accused, abandoned, and broken. But she'd also been believed, supported, and rebuilt. She'd faced injustice and found justice. She'd lost everything and gained more than she'd ever imagined. She was no longer the maid who was thrown out. She was a restaurant owner, a wife, a teacher, a helper of others. She was strong. She was happy. She was exactly who she was meant to be. And this, she thought as she danced with her husband surrounded by people she loved, this was her happy ending. Not because everything was perfect, but because she'd earned it. Built it. Chosen it. This was her life now. And it was beautiful.